You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I am Zach, Adam. Adam, I was thinking the other day.
Yeah.
You ever think that our lives could have turned out differently?
You mean like past choices or,
I mean like what if we could radically reinvent ourselves?
Ooh, okay.
And like, if choices we made in our past would lead to us radically reinventing ourselves in ways that no one could foresee or know, and it changes us in a very fundamental way.
So branching timelines, like,
yeah, like I guess string theory tells us that there's a future where I am dogs, and I don't mean like I am a dog. I mean I am all dogs. I mean like that's a potential future, and that's what science tells us.
Yeah, or like, I have a crown of feathers that is emerging from my head, or, maybe I have cybernetic arms.
You're bud. The technology's there. You're going to have cybernetic arms in the future.
Oh, glad
that's set in our current stone right now. Like Adam, you're a bit older than me, so you've got a good like 10, 15 years left with those arms, and then you're going to get some robot ones.
Love this. I mean, I hope my arms work for as long as they can, but
they're going to continue to work better when they're robotic.
See, these are interesting, what I would call visions you're having here.
Zach. No, Vision is that annoying guy who cries all the time on the Avengers. the toaster that the Avengers hang out with.
But aren't we talking about X-Men Millennial Visions this week?
We are talking about X-Men Millennial Visions. Thank you for forcing us there. With what I want to say is, I'm just gonna say it, Adam. It's the start of the episode. I'm gonna throw this out there.
Yeah.
Not our best intro. I think.
What? Oh, come on. We're doing fine.
I think there's some great bits in there. Like let's go back and let's critique it for a second. I think the robot arms thing probably went on a little long, but I do think that was fun. I don't think
near as long as cowboy hats in a past episode. I mean, that was a pretty quick bit.
Yeah, but the cowboy hats were funny. That's the thing. Me talking about cowboy hats, that was funny. I think describing myself as potentially all dogs, that's like an A-, and there's something there that could take it to an A+. I think we're just not doing our best work.
We are talking about a comic book that will feature an image of the X-Men as all dogs. So
no, the X-Men are bespoke dogs. They are individual dogs. They are not the concept of all dogs. I don't think you're understanding what I mean by all dogs.
You mean that? I don't understand that.
So
you're a gestalt of all dogs?
Yeah. So like,
what happened to them all? What happened to all the dogs? Why are they you?
A fish swims in the sea.
Sure.
But the sea is, in a certain sense, contained within the fish. If that makes sense.
No. What? No, the fish swims in the sea, not the other way around.
No, the sea is contained within the fish.
How so? It's not.
Fish breathe sea. They breathe sea. The sea is through them and in them and of them.
Sea passes through fish. Sea is not contained by fish.
In the same way, in this joke, I would have been all dogs.
This joke doesn't make sense.
I think we're
the semantics of this joke they don't make any sense.
I don't even know if we're doing jokes anymore. I think we're doing philosophy. Like, what does it mean to be all dogs? Because it certainly doesn't mean that I have like a Shih Tzu head. It means something deeper and more mysterious than that. And I like that we're stretching out bits here because I think it is actually very in keeping with this episode of stretching out things well past the point of anyone's interest.
You could say that, given that there are not just one but two issues of Millennial Visions, Why
You
are we
could say
talking?
that about this podcast in general.
No, no one would say that. People love listening to us.
Yes, they do.
Listen, we're just covering what already exists, you know? Like this
We
isn't
are,
new.
we are, because what we are doing this episode is we are taking a double dip.
Ooh.
You know about our double dips, Adam?
Yes, it's a mixed metaphor of salsa and ice cream, and also an option for our Patreon patrons.
You know what? Adding to the complexity of how you and I both think about double dips, I was nowhere near salsa. I was thinking like a French onion dip. You know?
Oh, that's triple now. Okay, because originally you thought ice cream, I thought salsa,
I thought ice
and
cream.
now we're into soup.
Well, but you described it as chips. You described it
Yeah.
as chips, and then you made the
Yep.
assumption that we were talking about a flour tortilla chip, or a corn tortilla chip. And honestly, I get it. I don't think you're wrong. All of this makes sense, but I was absolutely thinking of like a hell of a good chip dip, you know?
Like a little onion dip, you know?
Yeah,
that kind of
exactly.
thing.
That's what I was thinking. Like you get some of
Delicious.
those ruffles with the ridges, you go in there. Anyway, as you figure out what this metaphor is, much like all dogs, you can go over to patreon.com/BowTheAtom. And when you
The episode will be called All Dogs.
yeah, it's kind of sorry, I lost myself here. This is bad podcast. If you go over to patreon.com/BowTheAtom, reach deep down into your hearts and pocketbooks, you can become a patron of this podcast at the $5 a month level, which is the only level. You get a episode bespoke created around one of your ideas. But that's not all, because we wanted to give our folks a reason to stick around. So if you stick around for a year, then you get a double dip. You get another episode, baby.
Love it.
And that's what Matt McThorne did here, as we are talking about X-Men Millennial Visions.
Not the easiest of comics to talk about. These are very strange. The first
arguably, one, and I think I would successfully argue, not actually comics. Like there's very few things that we've covered that aren't actually comics. I think this one is pretty firmly not comics.
They are comic format, right? So you're still got your floppy and your staple, but you're right. There's no sequential art here. These are all for folks who have not seen this comic book. The first one comes out in 2000, summer of 2000. The second one comes out, I believe, November of 2001. And essentially, if I had to explain this to someone else, which is what we do on this show,
it's our whole thing.
Yeah, I would just say it's a bunch of individual artists who unfortunately all happen to be men, all doing X-Men pitches with an original piece of artwork, and about 90% of it is pretty terrible.
About 90% of it is pretty terrible. It's not all men. Colleen Doreen gets a pinup.
Oh, right. Okay. One. Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I don't want to say to be fair, but to be fair, like that's just who was artists at Marvel at the time.
Yeah,
that's more of an indictment of Marvel than this specific comic's fault.
Oh, yeah, we have some questionable people in the mix here as well, but the first issue is much shorter than the second, which is interesting. Yeah, there's less pitches in the first one than there are in the second one.
They feel about the same. Yeah. The second one, there's a specific thing that stretches it a bit. But you know what? We could go over each individual one, which we're not going to do. Can I tell you what I find a little frustrating about this?
You know, I'm going to go back on my ones longer than the other. I'm looking at them, and I think they actually are the same length. I don't know why I thought that. Okay. What were you about to say?
I was going to say what's a little frustrating is if I'm looking at this from a pure art standpoint, one of the most compelling pieces is the cover art by Art Adams that does not get a write-up.
Yeah. So the cover of the first issue is this great Art Adams piece with Cyclops with no visor, a very beastly beast, a super Skrull rogue, an armored Magneto. Angel has all kinds of like a feathered crest, and Wolverine is kind of like a Zen guy with like a flower chain around and some celestials in the background. No idea what this pitch is supposed to be. They don't explain it.
They don't explain it. They do explain. So all these pitches, the high concept, and the cat gets out of the bag very early in Kevin McGuire's pitch for Dogs, where he writes in that Mike Martz, who was editor at the time, says that he wants him to do a pinup of alternate versions of the X-Men. And Kevin McGuire said, no, I don't know X-Men. I have no pitch for them. Like, I don't want to do it. And then Mike Martz says, hey, just do like all the X-Men, but they're old. And then he's like, I don't want to do that. Or do them as Sentinels. I don't want to do that. How about doing them as giant demons or monsters? And he doesn't. And he says, oh, I can do that. And then he doesn't do that. And he just draws the X-Men as dogs.
Yeah.
So that's the amount of thought that all of these artists, that I don't want to say all of these artists, but a handful of these artists were putting into this, which speaks a lot to where editorial was at the time, where they were like, look, just friggin' draw something. Just draw a pinup of weird future X-Men stuff, and we'll go from there.
It's just weird because this is taking place before Morrison's new X-Men. So it does give you kind of an idea of what these artists thought X-Men was at this moment. And it's so interesting how many of them just kind of like get it wrong in a lot of ways.
Oh, some of these people have very different ideas of what a good X-Men comic would be than I do.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting how many of them are X-Men become cops, X-Men become Secret Service, X-Men work for the government, and like, think that's interesting because that seems at odds with what we're, usually thinking about. It's very difficult to like just give you a full creator list here too.
It's a lot of folks.
It really is. And in some cases, like you said, it's an excuse for somebody to draw the team as dogs. Gary Frank decides to gender swap the team. Does not look good.
Does not look good, but explicitly all of the X-Men end up being cool with being a different gender. So oddly progressive for let's make all the boys girls and all the girls boys.
I don't have a problem with that. It's just a bad piece of artwork.
It is a bad piece of artwork. I'm not gonna disagree.
Bill Sienkiewicz just uses it as an excuse to draw like 5 gross weirdos, which I really like. That one's fun.
Love that from Bill. Love that from Bill. I do like, so John Paul Leon does a X-Men as Secret Service-y thing. And I don't know if the pitch is good. In fact, I think the pitch is kind of bad. However, John Paul Leon's art freaking rips. So it's like,
God bless the late John Paul Leon. I will say that art is like, and I realize the pitch even says that it's set in a darkened hallway. There's not a lot in this picture. Like, it's mainly black silhouettes of characters, it's difficult to see them at all. So that's a tough one.
Some of these are so weird. Like the Colleen Doreen one. That's just a pinup of Storm as Thor.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Yep. Yeah, that especially once you get into the second issue, you start to get, instead of like complete teams and pitches, you just start to get like, these are just individual characters. Like, here's Archangel and he like owns the Savage Land. So he's standing there and it's like, okay. There's a Adam Polino one that's Blob as a
sumo wrestler,
and that one's kind of offensive. I didn't like that one very much.
I both do not love Blob as a sumo wrestler. One, because it's an incredibly obvious thing, and two, because there's a weird amount of appropriation. I will say, Polina's art looks good though. It's like that Bill Sienkiewicz New Mutants with Karma and the Shadow King. It's like, yes, all that's true. It is incredibly well done.
I did like in the second one, Alberto Ponticelli's last remaining 4 Generation X members.
That
So
freaking rules.
it's called The Last Family, and I really thought that was a solid pitch.
It's great. There's some of them that just are actively not caring about this thing, and I appreciate the folks who are just going out of the way to be like, hey, this is dumb, whatever.
Yeah, some of these are incredibly just like, it's just a pinup and they came up with something to go around with it. And then other people have a pitch, like the very last one in Visions 2 is basically just, what if X-Men were a rock band? And here's some of them holding instruments and it's X-Men Revolution. Okay, that's fine.
That's fine. Weird that the second issue is padded with like 8 pages of those Alex Ross X-Men designs that they weren't used and they put in Wizard magazine.
You've got about 6 pages of Alex Ross content here, so that's kind of a lot.
I kind of love those designs though. That's the thing. Like that Cyclops design is so good.
Yeah, it's weird. They're not the best repros of that art. I remember Alex Ross had a hardcover retrospective of Marvel work that came out maybe last year, the year before. You could see some really high quality versions of those images, and those costumes are great, especially the Wolverine, which very clearly is Hugh Jackman wearing the costume.
I think it is very clearly Hugh Jackman wearing the costume. I think the Wolverine costume is actually bad, but I'm also heavy on my Wolverine's costumes are bad.
I know you're on that kick lately, right?
I am on that kick right now. Millennial Visions is more like, interesting than it is good. Do you know though that part of this did come into continuity, into a very specific branch of continuity?
Well, okay, so before I guess which one you're talking about, I do want to note how many of these are things that will then predict like some kind of story that will happen later, which I did think was interesting.
Like Bishop becoming a cop and them having a NYXF pin up in here.
Yes. Separately from that, I did enjoy the very wild Bishop pitch that involved Sinister basically like killing off the human race, but then Bishop helping him to try and restart it, only to realize that Sinister just wanted to recreate humans so he could experiment them on them more. So Bishop has to save it's called Bishop Father of Man. And the artwork I don't like very much. It's by Philip Xavier, but that pitch is fun. There are some cool things in here.
The thing is, it's very easy for people to come up with a good idea. Execution is really what matters. Like, listen, I come up with good ideas all the time. I do not write comic books, so it does not matter. But I can come up with these ideas like crazy. You want an idea, I can give you an idea. That's not what the important thing is. Everyone has a million ideas.
I'm assuming your idea would be X-Man live from Pakistan. Written.
That's absolutely... That's the wildest pitch, because they're just describing the book X-Man that was currently ongoing or had just been canceled.
Yeah,
like if you told me that was a cover for X-Man that got rejected, I would have said, okay, yeah, that's what they did with that one. So many of these are just bizarre, man. These are weird.
I also want to compliment Jim Calafiore and Jim Calafiore for making an Exiles team made up of members of the other Millennial Visions.
First issue. So here's the
that's
thing.
A fun one.
Here's the thing about that, Adam. In the first Millennial Visions, there is a team on there called Professor W's X-Men.
Yes.
That Jim Calafiore does. Brother, that team shows up very early on in the book Exiles.
Amazing.
And then his team of everybody from this issue, or from Millennial Visions that becomes part of the new thing that he draws, they are also later in Exiles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not the Exiles liker, but I do appreciate that.
Do you have a candidate for like the worst one of these? Like the one that is just so dumb.
I mean, the worst to me is some of the guys that are like, what if we just made them all Sentinels? Or
Yeah,
just like the ones who didn't really
think
put
about
effort
it.
into the pitch. And that's an editorial issue, not an artist issue, because some of the art is quite good, but like they didn't get the concept of this.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Oh, I actually hate the Rogue one. That one, I think Extreme X-Men Rogue PI by
yeah.
Alex Maleev, and I love Alex Maleev. That art is bad.
I like the artwork, but I don't like the concept that is just Cyclops baby. It's like Jean and Scott have had a baby, and it has eye blast powers, and I believe it's
It's Sean Phillips.
Sean Phillips, who's we're going to talk about later in this episode. It's
Uh,
it's a fine piece. It's just like, can we come up with something? I don't know.
oh, I will. I'll say for misses the mark the most.
Yeah.
In terms of what I want an X-Men story to be, it's probably Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver's X-Men Reborn.
Oof. Yeah. Tell me about that one.
Apocalypse captures Professor X and starts experimenting on him, and oops, makes over 200,000 mutants appear instantly. And it's Jeff Johns doing continuity nonsense, and Ethan Van Sciver's art, which look, he's the worst. His art isn't the worst in this, which is what's frustrating about it. Like it makes me, I look at it and say, well, shoot, if Morrison didn't take that big swing and it worked out, this is what we could have gotten very, very, very soon. We could have gotten Jeff Johns' X-Men.
Yeah.
And that's scarier to me than like Dan Slott's X-Men.
That piece looks very much like a repurposed new X-Men cover, does it not?
A little
very
bit
similar to the Jean cover.
Yeah, but I don't know how much of that is just because it is Van Sciver.
I think that could be part of it too. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
This isn't good. It's also not really. This is less of a story than almost anything we've discussed.
well, it's also too much stories because every single image comes with its own page of text pitching what the idea is, from the silly all the way to the the most solid. So it's a lot, but it's also, I would argue, very thin. And like I said at the top, I feel like a lot of these miss the mark on just like what X-Men is about.
Look, people can have different opinions about what X-Men should be than I do. I don't have to read those comics though. Like,
yeah,
some of
there's very few of these that I would read if they were like a pitch for a series.
Well, it's something that like I'm struggling is such a big word for this, but it's something I am wrestling a little bit with right now as a, let's say, lapsed X-Men reader.
Yeah.
I keep reading pitches like, oh, this is the book we're trying to sell you. I'm like, that's not the book I want. That's not what I want to read. And maybe it's good, but so many of these are, it's exactly that. It's like going through and you can see the folks who understand X-Men and the one who are like, yeah, they're just a superhero team, right? And it's like, no, there's a different flavor to it. You have to, X-Men is, I'm going to describe it like this. X-Men is the dumb person's thinking person's book. They're what a dumb person thinks a deep comic would be.
Okay.
That really is what X-Men is at its core. I do believe that. Because the best X-Men comic is not the smartest comic, and it's not in the same league as the smartest comics out there. I love Hoxpox, probably the smartest X-Men comic. It's like that's like an A- of really well thought out, high concept comics.
I'm not going to argue with you. I think these are just like thematically all over the place and don't seem to really understand like what the mutant metaphor is supposed to be about,
That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to get
just
at.
the basic building blocks of like, even the mythology of what had come out by the time
We're just writing
these had come out.
superhero comics. They're just saying,
Yeah.
what's a good superhero pitch? No, I need a superhero pitch that I can pretend to feel superior to other people because mine's deeper, when really it's still just a superhero pitch, but I have that thin veneer of I'm better than you because I like this thing and this thing has themes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've done our best job here. It's very difficult. We weren't going to talk about all 48 of the pitches
We're not talking
that
about
are in
all
these
of these
two.
pitches. Go
So
flip
we've covered
through them.
some highs and lows. I do think it's, if you're flipping through long boxes and you come across these in a dollar bin, they're
Buy
worth,
'em.
definitely get them, definitely flip through them. They're interesting, for their time.
They are
But why don't we
artifacts.
try and rank these, Zach, on our big old list?
Well, that's the thing about this podcast is that we don't just talk about how X-Men comics are the dumb person's thinking person comic. We actively rank them so that you know exactly where the dumb and the thinking person line is. We're ranking them from best to worst. We've ranked 1,158 X-Men comics. The best is House of X Powers of 10. The 300th best is Uncanny X-Force 24. And Adam, that's a dumb person's thinking person comic right there. Number 600 is when Sabretooth escapes from the mansion in the 90s. That's getting into a dumb person's dumb comic. Number 900 is Extreme X-Men Infantata. That's a dumb person's thinking person comic right there. Worst comics X-Men 2099 burns tomorrow.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
That's just dumb. Look,
maybe we need to like grade the numbers here.
I want to pitch something to you. How do you feel about it compared to number 1011 on this list, X-Men Survival Guide to the Mansion, which I think is the most comparable story that we have on this list, because it's also the least a story that we have on this list.
It is, and I think I'd much rather like pull the Spiral Bound Survival Guide off the shelf, because
Survival Guide's better.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is definitely down in the thousands.
This is worse than Brotherhood at 1026.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It is. Let's see.
1100 is a bad X-Men pitch, and that's X-Men Gold 1 to 3.
This is better or worse than that.
But
I feel
it's
like
worse.
I feel like it's worse. I'm just working my way down. This is better or worse than Gus. This is better than Gus Beezer at 1145.
This is better than Gus Beezer. I would say that.
This is better than New Mutants Forever at 1135.
Here's where I'm looking.
Yeah.
At 1125, we have The Legend of the Dark Claw.
Yep.
At 1132, we have X-Men 100th Anniversary Special.
That's a very good comp, but this is not as bad as that.
Okay, because we're in that area. Here, I'm going to throw this one out there. 1129, X-Force Killshot Anniversary Special. Another mostly art pictures.
Yeah, I'm going to go, it's worse than Killshot, but it's better than what's right below it, which is What If 37, What If Wolverine was Lord of the Vampires during Inferno, a very ugly comic book.
And a hat on a hat right there.
Yeah. So our new 1130 is X-Men Millennial Visions number 1 and 2. And Zach, we took this theme, this idea of sort of like pitches that may or may not have should have been weird alternate universe X-Men stories that aren't. And I recommended this one, which I'd never read before. This is from 2008. It is written by Chris Claremont. It is penciled by Patrick Scherberger, and it is called GeneXt.
It is GeneXt. This is, so the genesis of this project is a little interesting. On Marvel.com, back when websites were a thing, you know how we don't have individual websites anymore?
Just apps,
Just apps, baby. And social media aggregators.
Sure.
Back then, Marvel ran a poll. It's like, oh, what would you like to see Chris Claremont work on next? And one of the options that overwhelmingly won was, what if the X-Men aged in real time?
Mm-hmm.
And that won overwhelmingly. So Chris Claremont was like, well, I'm going to write this, and it's called GeneXt, and it is about a team of mutants out of the Xavier Academy. It is Ollie Raven, Becca Monroe, Pavel Rasputin, Rico. We find out later that it's Rico Richards, and a girl named No Name.
Yep, that's your cast. So your Rasputin is basically a younger version of like what Colossus looked like in Age of Apocalypse.
He's the best looking one. He's the
Sure.
best.
Oliver,
He's the best character because he is literally just Colossus. And Chris Claremont's writing Colossus. And I'm like, okay, I like that character. Good job, Chris. I like him.
Yeah. Olivier is the son of Rogue and Gambit.
I could not tell you panel by panel who Olivier Raven is and who Rico Richards is. Chris Claremont is not interested in those men.
The only difference is really the hair color. I guess Ollie's eye lights up sometimes for some reason. That doesn't really make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, Rico is the grandson of Reed and Sue. Like there's weird things like Gambit and Rogue have a kid, but Reed and Sue have a grandkid, but they're the same age. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, if you think about it, if the concept of this is it's aging in real time, or their X-Men is moving forward in real time, then Reed and Sue were older than the X-Men, and
Yeah,
Franklin was born. I don't know, man. It's odd. No Name, she runs off, and GeneXt tries to find her, and they go on misadventures. It's kind of what happens.
Yeah. So the antagonists of this book are essentially the Shockwave Riders, who gotta love Chris Claremont for bringing in some Neo stuff into here. This is
explain to me anything about the Shockwave Riders.
I can't tell you anything. This book tells you nothing.
You know that they aren't the Goth, they aren't the Neo. They are around. They aren't the slavers and the pirates. They are one of those early 2000s Claremont thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the secret, real antagonists of this book, buddy, it's Shadow X.
Tell everybody who Shadow X is.
Well, of course, if you have read Chris Claremont's new Excalibur, you're well aware of Shadow X. They are the Dark X-Men. Dark Original 5 X-Men from an alternate reality that the Shadow King ruled.
This is a different version of them, correct? Like they're not the exact same characters because this is a different universe, I guess. But it's the same. I don't think
Claremont's thinking that hard about it, buddy.
Yeah. But Jean Grey is known as Jenna Grey. Dark Beast is Enrique McCoy. Warren Worthington, Berto Drac, and Scott Summers. They all wear black. In fact, there's a reveal in either the second or the third issue where I was just very confused, where I believe it's Marrow or somebody that looks like Marrow walks in on Emma Frost, who is I did appreciate that the co-heads of the Xavier Institute are Cyclops and Emma. That was nice. But Emma is dressed in black, and the woman who walks in on her as acting like she just got murdered. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Oh, okay. So the Black Marvel Jenna Grey from another universe has pranked Emma Frost or something like that. And I was
it's not very good.
It's very confusing as to why that was interesting or why that happened.
So No Name is with the Shockwave Riders because actually her secret history is that she is related to the Shockwave Riders. How? Why? Does it matter? No.
Nope. Doesn't ever get explained either.
Not in this miniseries. I believe it does in the sequel miniseries, but again, I read that once and immediately memory hold it.
Yeah. We also are getting the struggle of Becca Monroe, who is the daughter of Storm, but is also a former citizen of the Savage Land, who I guess if she lets loose goes savage and has like tattoos and can break
And like
things and
panther powers. It's weird.
sure. Yeah.
Also,
Powers are a little hard to explain here in some cases.
did you, Adam, as a Savage Land baby liker, appreciate that Pavel Rasputin is the son of Colossus's Savage Land baby that he had the first time he had sex in a threesome with 2 hot Savage Land ladies?
But he's the grandson of
He's
Colossus,
the grandson
right?
of that. He's the grandson of Colossus. So
Okay.
So Neriel has the child
Yes.
from their tryst, and does not tell Colossus. You gotta think that Neriel thought that like it was pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like hint, 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 elbow, elbow.
Anyway, I assume that kid had another child, and that became Pavel Rasputin. And then when Becca Monroe ends up in the Savage Land, they're like, "Oh, we're friends. We're friends. My mom knows your mom from the past."
The Marvel Wiki claims that is exactly what the scenario is based on what comes in the next issue of GeneXt that we're not talking about, which is GeneXt United.
Yes. Hey, Adam, can I ask you this? Because this was your first time reading GeneXt, right?
Yeah.
How long into this book did it take you to realize that this is a stealth sequel to Stan Lee Presents: X-Men: The End?
Well, I realized it as soon as I saw and got eyes on Beast, because Beast.
You're like, that's X-Men: The End Beast.
That's X-Men: The End Beast. He's got his beads. You know,
it is like deeply tied to X-Men: The End continuity, which I find so funny.
Yeah, no, this is definitely like, hey, this is happening before that. So
no, this happens after X-Men: The End, very explicitly, because they keep talking about
after.
Because that's why Cyclops, in like the one good scene in this entire thing, is pointing to a wall of all of his dead friends and be like, "Yeah, I had to tell all of their friends and loved ones and everyone that they died, so I kind of know how to deal with this kind of crap. It sucks. Let me deal with it."
I did imagine that you might actually like the fact that this was a sequel to X-Men: The End.
I'm charmed by the fact that this is a sequel to X-Men: The End. Is X-Men: The End good? Hell no. Is this book good? Also no.
No, but here's what I want to say about GeneXt. When I brought up using this story for this show, you were like, "Oh man, you're gonna hate that. That's GeneXt." And then I'm reading it. I was like, this is nothing. Like, this is just Claremont having a silly time. It's kind of like Claremont's Runaways. Like,
but Claremont's an old man who recently had a stroke and he's writing about teenagers. So he's less, and that's not to make light of his medical issues, but that's where Claremont was at the time. Like, he does not have the voice of the kids.
No, one would argue he never did, but
one would argue that.
Yeah.
And there's going to be New Mutants fans who are mad about that. And listen, folks, I'm a New Mutants fan, but like,
let's be real.
Those aren't children. Those are weird Claremont golems of people.
But I will say, I don't dislike Patrick Scherberger's art in this.
I kind of think Scherberger's art.
It's in
carries this a lot more than I thought it did.
Yeah, it's in the like Chris Pachalo / Joe Mad kind of family like of character designing.
He had just gotten off a big stint of doing Marvel Adventures Spider-Man, which really makes sense.
That makes sense.
I see that.
Yeah, no, you could see it. So I didn't hate this. I think it's just more nothing because it's very ill-defined who the villains are. I don't really have a strong connection to these characters. I also just, as a practice, find it annoying when kids of favorite characters are basically the same character as their parents or combined of their parents. Like that's not the way being a mutant works. And that drives me nuts.
I legitimately hate that too. I'm going to be honest. I friggin' hate we're the kids of other people thing to begin with. I think that's dumb and stupid. And it's like, oh, look, we're doing this book about the kids on a thing. And like, I will not, I will never care about that. I do not need to see the next generation and it's everyone's kids. Like, that's the worst to me. Credit to Claremont. He restrains himself. He does not name all of these kids after friends of their parents, which is a thing that is done constantly in media, and it makes me want to scream. Like, look,
that is really annoying. That people
I'm not a Harry Potter guy. I was never a Harry Potter guy, not because I was woke in the 90s. It's because I was actually the opposite, and my mom thought they were satanic. So when I did have a copy of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, I did throw it into the trash because I was like, no, I don't need this evil in my life. That's not a joke. My dad was really confused and kind of mad because we had just bought it.
Amazing.
Wild. Anyway, but he doesn't do the Harry Potter thing of like, hey, this is what is it? Albus Snape, Dumbledore, freaking Potter, or whatever his kids' names are. I don't know, and I won't. I refuse to look it up.
Don't worry about it.
I explicitly don't.
But I do think that's a dumb trope. And I'm glad Claremont doesn't do it here.
It's the most fanficky thing that you can do. Like, come on, be better than that. And Chris is.
Well,
not better at things. He is better than that.
We did mention Stanley Presents : X-Men : The End : book whatever.
There's a colon after the book too, but of Men and X-Men or something.
I didn't get that far, but is this better than any of those?
It's definitely not better than book 3.
Well, that's 765. We have book 2 at 932, and we have book 1 at 1062.
This is better than book 1.
I think it's better than book 1. Yeah.
Okay, where's book 2 again? Okay, Heroes and Martyrs is at 932. Above that is Onslaught, the X-Men and X-Force issues. And below that is the 2 Ms. Marvel issues that Claremont never actually got published of his original run. It's not as good as those Ms. Marvel issues.
Okay, so
that's at 933. I'm putting it below book 2, but above book 1.
Oh, see, I was gonna go lower than this.
I mean, we can go lower than this. I just want it above book 1, I think.
Well, you want it above? Yeah,
above,
but
between
below
2
book
and 1.
But below book 2, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Like Marvel Mangaverse X-Men is at 1010. I think this is better than that.
Yeah, that's fair. But this is better than Hidden Years at 996.
Is it better than the time they met Frankenstein?
No.
It's not. Is it better than Days of Future Past Doomsday? I can answer that. No, it's not.
No.
Is it better than New Mutants 75? No.
No, you know what? It's not better than Marvel Team Up 4, where Spidey and the plainclothes X-Men confront Morbius. So I think this is our new 996.
This is our new 996, baby.
Yeah. I don't know. This was inoffensive Claremont silliness. It's fine.
It's kind of nothing. But it's... Look, you don't have Let's Talk accounts for all the GeneXt kids. You know?
No, these are not memorable characters. And we have one last very weird alt-universe X-pitch here that is set inside something called the Marvels, plural, comics group. Zach, what is that?
This is Marvel's Comics X-Men Volume 1, Number 1, also known as Codename X-Men, also known as the least SEO usable title in superhero comics history. But
it's very tough to find online in any
just capacity. So people know the lengths that we went to get you this comic. I was like, okay, let me see if I can't happen to stumble upon a digital copy somewhere. Could not. Tried a lot. And it's not that I don't think that digital copies exist. I think that you cannot search Marvel Comics X-Men and expect to find this.
Yeah. I think it's telling that even on the Marvel Wiki, I'm pretty sure in the bottom left corner of the cover scan
Oh, it's a
is
scans.
it's a scan. It's like a pirate scan at the bottom left, like their logo instead of like a Marvel thing. I'm like, okay, so this is
So
like no one knows what this is.
so what we had to do is I dug through long boxes and short boxes because I knew I had it somewhere. And mine are not accessible anymore because I stopped buying physical comics about 7 years ago. So I had to dig through these, found them right next to Millennial Visions, which was like, oh, great job sorting these, Zach. Found this. I had to try and take the best pictures that I could to send to Adam via phone so that he could read this comic.
Yeah. So I read this comic via photos and text, which in my text chain, that was pretty fun. It's
was
the
fun.
first time we've ever had to do that.
First time, I did not send you the letters page because I thought it was just a standard bullpen bulletin kind of page, and it wasn't. It was an in-universe one, and I wish that I would have sent that to you because it's kind of interesting.
Well, tell our listeners what that means. What is in universe for the Marvel's comics group?
Okay, yeah, we haven't gone over this because I'll tell you, the first time I read this comic, I did not know what the gimmick was, and that made for a bizarre reading experience. I'll tell you that. These are comic books, and this was a series. They did like 5 or 6 of these, written as if this was a comic that you could purchase in the Marvel universe. So this is a comic book about it's like real life fan fiction, but in universe. So it is what the Marvel's comic group would publish their X-Men comic, not knowing who the X-Men are, anything really about them, and just kind of like knowing them from the news and being around society. And this one's the most interesting, and we're going to give credit where credit is due here. I will actually credit writer Mark Miller for having a very interesting pitch on this because this is a propaganda comic. This is an anti-mutant propaganda comic because that's what would be published in the Marvel universe at this time. Like, that's interesting.
I'll give credit to a point. This is written by Mark Miller. Great art by Sean Phillips and Duncan Fegredo.
Hey, it turns out Sean Phillips is a good artist. I don't know if that's just you, me, and Ed Brubaker who know that, but Sean Phillips is pretty good.
It's pretty great stuff. But this is very much in the vein of a Mark Miller comic, and it may be a quote unquote propaganda comic inside the 616, but it's also like just the X-Men as Suicide Squad.
There's that. And that's interesting. So this is Mark Miller's first real Marvel comic. He's credited on Skull Kill Crew with Grant Morrison, but if you know anything about their working relationship in the 90s, that was more of a Grant Morrison book.
I would assume.
In fact, some of their working relationship, Grant Morrison is not credited on, but they're more Grant Morrison books. So this is before Miller does Ultimate X-Men. This is before he does Ultimates. I think this is it is very telling because Miller was not a small name. I don't have the full timeline to tell you if this was before or after Miller did The Authority. Just because, look, I don't have all of Mark Miller's comics committed to memory up here. Like the timelines of them, I don't read most of them.
Pretty sure Authority is 99. So this is after that.
Well, I believe that's Warren Ellis Authority.
Oh, so when is...
I don't know. I don't know when the Mark Miller Authority run with Frank Whiteley starts. I think after this. But like Miller had a reputation or is building a reputation for doing these kind of things.
Come on. I got to be able to figure this out.
It's Miller and Frank Whiteley.
Yeah. It's not until after 2001.
Okay.
So this comes before that.
Man, so this is like a prototypical Mark Miller comic, which is insane. So what it is the X-Men are Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
The X-Men team, Adam.
Yeah.
Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
Cyclops. Iceman.
Yep.
Mastermind?
Keep going.
Goblin Queen.
Unclear if it's Jean or Madeline. We don't know.
How could we know? They don't know who this person is. The Marvel Universe has just seen this red lady that hangs out with the X-Men, and at one point she took over New York City as a demon lady. Does anyone in universe remember that? No, but that's not the point. And then Deathbird.
Yeah. Who also is kind of drawn like Archangel, so maybe there's some confusion there. But
yes, which there's a lot of, for what this is, there's a lot of like, Mark Millar did not just crank this out over a weekend. Like, he put thought into it. He gave it a shot. And they are led by Colonel America, who Captain America can be one day if he works really hard, which
hold on a sec. You are missing the Mark Millar half of that sentence, Zachary.
I might be. I'm paraphrasing, and I was pulling up our text chain that I have all of these.
I am going to pull that up just so that everybody's clear on, because the Mark Millerisms come fast and furious in this book. But the line of dialogue that Colonel America says, let's just say I'm where Captain America will be in a few years if he salutes all the right people and steers clear of loose women, son. And he winks.
Gosh.
Woof.
I
also appreciate that you and I both screen grabbed the same exact line of dialogue from Cyclops, which is about the most Mark Millar dialogue in this issue.
I want to be clear. It's not good Cyclops dialogue, which I think is partly the point, but it is also a Mark Millar joke from 2000. And it's after, Colonel America says something about Homo Superior. Cyclops leans over with his hand over to Mastermind. It's like, just once, I'd like them to use the term hetero superior. It's like, oh,
Mark.
It's the lowest. It's the lowest hanging fruit that you could possibly do, with the exception of a really badly framed X-Men joke that he could have done, but does not.
So our team is sent off with these, explosive X's.
Suicide Squad things. They're going to get blown up. They have to
get blown up.
There's only fun fact: the government has conscripted 666 mutants to be part of Weapon X, which I find very funny. That is a dumb comics thing, but again, it's like, that is what it would be. That is the dumb comics thing that would be if I was Mark Millar living in the Marvel Universe, writing the fake adventures of the X-Men.
Their villain here is a mutant who we don't think of as a mutant because he's not usually. And that's Dr. Strange.
That part doesn't work for me. That doesn't make any sense. I don't get what he's going for there.
He's leading the Church of the Splitting Atom, and they are going to drop what do they call it? A clean nuke on New York.
Okay, I kind of love that. It's an environmentally friendly nuke that the molecules in it will rearrange everything it destroys except for human lives.
Yes.
So it's a green nuke. It's a nuke that you drop it and everything's okay except for it does kill everyone around you.
Yep. So it's going to kill all the humans, and then mutants can inherit the Earth. But there's some infighting about this, and essentially the second half of the book is just them fighting the various people who are working for Doctor Strange, including a pretty wild cast. Lady Deathstrike, Holocaust is here, North Star, Toad, Quicksilver, Magneto, who just gets dropped by Wolverine somehow.
Which is weird because in universe, Magneto was on trial. Like that's one thing. It's like, Mark, I get the bit there, but Magneto's not one of the ones that they would have drawn as like a random filler. We don't know who this is. Much of the cast does die in this book, including Deathbird, which I think it's funny that Deathbird, the character who should least be here, is like Slipknot from the Suicide Squad movie. Where it's like, oh, they died.
She has like one line of dialogue too. Wolverine then pilots the ship, I guess it's a Quinjet, with the nuke back to Doctor Strange's island, blows it up, and that's the end. Story's over.
Coronel America says, that guy might have been born a worthless, stinking mutant, but few would doubt he died like a man tonight. Cyclops says, what more can anyone ask? And it is like that. Look, the thing is that's exactly what the comic would be. It is so exactly. It is government propaganda. It is. Look, if someone wants to be like, Mark Miller is misinterpreting Captain America here, yes, he is misinterpreting the character Steve Rogers, who this isn't. But he is very astutely being like, hey, by the way, I'm not from America. This is kind of what we all think of you guys.
I think that as a thought experiment, this is fine. I in general don't really like Mark Miller's work. So when you see the telltale signs of it, it's hard to ignore. I don't know. I think what you're saying is correct, that there are elements of this in terms of it being written as a piece of propaganda that are successful.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily buy that this is what a comic book about the X-Men in the Marvel universe would look like. I think that the X-Men would have had more exposure, and that this is too much of a departure for it to actually be what the actual thing would be. So it's a little confusing.
So it hasn't come up on this podcast as much, maybe a little bit, but I've got a kind of a complex relationship with Mark Miller. Like there's a piece that I started writing and then it needed a few edits and I stopped doing comics journalism pretty soon after that, and just it never got published. But it's a piece about me revisiting the comic book Kick-Ass, which I really liked when I was like 18, 19 years old. Mm-hmm. I thought it was cool and awesome. And I was like, this is great. And the movie came out and I was like, this movie's awesome. And I had to sit down and like, what was appealing about this? And like, there are parts of Mark Miller that scratch that monkey brain itch. Like Mark Miller is not just a completely talentless hack. He's just a hack. That's the thing. Like he is a hack, but he's not talentless. He knows what he's doing. And I think there's some intelligence in this comic. And I think some of this stuff, if I point to the parts of like Ultimates or Civil War or Ultimate X-Men that I'm like, see, there's something smart in here. I can see it. So I don't hate this. And because it has that Sean Phillips art, I'm like, okay, maybe this is leaning into good. Though I will say that Sean Phillips' art gets better when he gets colored by other folks later in his career. But yeah, evolves.
I think the Sean Phillips art elevates this a great deal.
It really does.
In terms of reevaluating Mark Miller, I've never really had much of an enjoyment of his stuff.
Well, because you weren't a teenage boy when Kick-Ass came out.
No, but I think my interactions with Kick-Ass were, why is JRJR doing this book? Then seeing clips of it and thinking they were pretty vile, and then watching the movie and going, what is this?
The movie is so much better than the book.
Okay.
Like, I will say that the movie has to figure out a way to make all this work. Because here's what the book does. The book has a twist in it where the Nicolas Cage character in the movie, Big Daddy, I think is his name. Mm-hmm. It turns out he's actually not the Punisher. Mm-hmm. He is just some comic book nerd who thought he could be a superhero, and he's just some stupid freaking guy. And then he gets his head blown up with a gun. And in the movie, he is the Punisher. And he dies heroically. It's like it is less Mark Miller being like, look at you freaking nerds. You're stupid for liking this stuff. I'm going to make $1 million off of you, and you're freaking stupid. Which is many Mark Miller comics.
Yeah. I mean, I've been completely off the Mark Miller train ever since I read that one Youngblood issue he did where they were zombie versions of the civil rights leaders, and Youngblood was... Oh, you've never read this?
No, I've never read a single page of Youngblood, Adam.
There is a relaunch of Youngblood that only lasted for a single issue. Which Mark Miller writes it, Liefeld draws it, and the...
What issue? Wait,
well,
Are you about to tell me that there is art out there that was published of Robert Liefeld's
Rob Liefeld trying to draw zombie versions of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, amongst others, and Shaft
Wait.
and other members of Youngblood are killing
Shaft
them.
from Youngblood, not the Shaft, the 70s black exploitation character. No. Okay. No. So
this is a real comic book that exists, and people should know about it. And the fact that
you could see that going either way, right?
Yeah,
either
the fact that Mark Millar got a multi-million-dollar Netflix deal after that exists in this world just still blows my mind.
I did read the book that he did with Pepe Larraz because it was free on on my library. No, it was
what was that called? Something magic.
Big Time? No, the magic one was a different artist.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that was Mark Millar's smash up comic of all of his other comics. That was the Mark Millar crossover.
The one with Biden.
That one has what I think may be a transcendent page of comics that goes from. It's the kind of stuff that I'm like, okay, I get Mark Millar a little bit because it does have a page of Dave from Kick-Ass sincerely putting on his costume again because, and I quote, because Joe Biden said that we need heroes. President Joe Biden needs me.
Yeah.
And it's played so sincere. It is sincere. And I believe that Mark Millar thinks that it is a really, like, that's a proud statement to be making. That's what being an American is like, bud, even those of us who kind of liked Joe Biden didn't like Joe Biden that much. Like, no one was shocked when Joe Biden started being unpopular.
I just feel like you can always kind of tell Millar's like general politics through, his stuff. And it always just makes me feel icky.
He's right wing, but he's British right wing, which means he's far left in America.
I guess. I don't know that that's true, but
Bud, you should see some of Britain's political positions.
Yeah,
they make for a really strong Democratic ticket on the right side of Britain sometimes.
Where should we put this?
Let's see. It's not bad. Where do we have Where do we have some Ultimate X-Men?
Let's take a look.
It's not as good as World Tour. That's at 113. Tomorrow People is 160. Return of the King is at 355. It's not that good. It's not as good as Reservation. 401 is Jump the Shark, or that's Ultimate Spider-Man Jump the Shark. Is this better or worse than the body swap issue of Ultimate Spider-Man? It's worse. It's worse. I just had to say that out loud.
It's
Ultimate Gambit. No, this isn't as good as the Ultimate Gambit two-parter that.
No, I don't even think it's as good as 757, the Rogue and Gambit annual, Ultimate X-Men annual.
Okay. Well, this is better. This is better than 766, which is the Nick Spencer Ultimate Comics X-Men.
Okay.
I think that's true. But it's not as good as Stanley Presents X-Men the End or X-Men the End Book 3 Men and X-Men.
All right. So this is going to be our new 766. The very difficult to find if you are searching for it anywhere. Marvel's plural comics X-Men #1.
Fully endorse people picking this up if they see it in a long box.
It's like, definitely a rarity. It's something very strange. So
weird. I kind of adore how weird it is. And it's weird that Mark Millar did it. And very funny, I did post that one panel to some friends. And the only person to immediately spot, oh yeah, that's a Mark Millar comic. I know exactly what Mark Millar comic that this obscure X-Men thing was. It was our friend Zach Rabaroff. He was like, yeah, I know who. Yes, Zach, do you really doubt that I know what this is? It was beautiful. It was a perfect moment. I was like, that's why we're friends.
I think it's very telling that if you did post that and just ask, who do you think wrote this? You could probably a lot
of people would say Mark Millar. There would be a few Chuck Austin heads out there. And then you'd get people like, did Chuck Dixon write this? And I was like, no, Chuck Dixon didn't write much X-Men. But it does. That's a very Chuck Dixon line right there. Too.
Sure. Well, Zach, we did it. We explored the multiple non-existing X-Men futures of the Millennial Visions and others. So
I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, I am too. And who do we have to thank for this double dip?
That is Matt McThorne. If you want to be like Matt, you can go over to patreon.com/BattleTheAtom, do all that stuff. We've got plenty of double dips coming up. We've got plenty of fun stuff happening. So jump on in and see what's in store for you. Adam, what do you got in store for our friends and neighbors?
Just did we normally review Uncanny, but this past week there was a Jubilee one shot in honor of Asian American and Pacific Islander month from Marvel that I actually liked quite a bit. So Austin and I took a couple minutes to write about it.
That's a Gene Luen Yang comic, right?
It is.
My son really likes Gene Luen Yang. Fun fact. Turns out 10-year-olds go crazy for that guy.
Yeah. Award winning for a reason. So check that out.
Really good. I also like him.
Yeah. You can follow Adam Rec on Instagram and Blue Sky. And Zach, what are we doing next week?
Well, Adam, I'm about to find out in, I'm going to say about 3 minutes. What if I heated up some fried calamari in a hotel microwave?
Godspeed, my friend.
What's that going to be like? Because I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to think. I know that the answer is I cannot set this thing to full power. That's going to rubberize all this. So I'm going to have to go low and slow in a microwave to get this going. And it's making me think, what if, Adam? What if?
Are you saying we're talking about what ifs?
We're talking about what ifs, yes. That fried calamari thing is not a joke. I actually grabbed a plate from the Hampton Inn because I don't have plates.
I love this. This hotel life of yours.
Oh, bud, I'm in beautiful Chicago, Illinois, and it is miserable, and I want to be home so bad. But until then, folks, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!